Kripa sindubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So I'm really, really grateful to be with everyone again. I do feel like it's an incredible bonus. And I feel like it's an incredible bonus. And we get to hear about Gornitai through the eyes of someone who loves them so incredibly much. I've always said that there's nothing quite like hearing about someone through somebody who really likes them. There have been times when I've heard about specific deities or pastimes or pastime places, and it can be okay. But then hearing about these specific pastime places or specific personalities through someone or from someone who really has an affinity or a love for them, that makes the difference. Somehow that changes everything. So if we think about it, we can hear about Lord Sri Ram, and we may have heard Ramayana, and we hear about this in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Within the Vaikuntha Ayodhya, this little cowherd boy, Gopakumar, gets there. And he's very much attracted to Sri Krishna. But in Ayodhya, within that spiritual abode, they speak about Sri Ram. They live for Sri Ram. And Gopakumar feels a little bit out of sorts because he's in the mood of worshiping Sri Krishna, bent in three places, standing with a flute, no longer with a bow and arrow, except for sometimes. But usually Sri Ram is with his bow and arrow, and he's the emblem of perfection. And Gopakumar feels a little different, but Gopakumar begins to hear about Sri Ram from Hanuman. And there is no one who loves Sri Ram more than Hanuman. And so Gopakumar seems to forget how out of place he feels. I feel in the same way, hearing about Shri Radha Krishna, hearing about Gornitai through Narottama Dasa Thakur's bhajans, through the lens, through the mouthpiece of Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur, this gives us such a glimpse into the ecstasy of Sri Gornitai, the wondrous pastimes of the Panchatattva. So of course, we have to understand who is Narottama Dasa Thakur. He is affectionately referred to as Thakur Mahashai, the greatest teacher. He was a prolific writer of songs and poems. And it's said within Narottam Vilas, compiled by Srila Narahari Thakur, that one day while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing with his associates during Sankirtan, he suddenly looked in the direction of Sri Ketari, a great village. A peculiar look appeared on his face, tears swelled in his eyes, and he cried out the name, Narottam, Narottam, again and again. The ocean of mercy, Lord Nityananda Rai, also shouted in joy, and Haridas, Vakreshwar Pandit, the great dancer, and others were inexplicably filled with happiness. Witnessing the unusual behavior of the Lord, the devotees began talking amongst themselves. Prabhu is repeatedly calling out the name of someone called Narottam. It seems that this Narottama Dasa Thakur is extremely dear to the Lord. Perhaps he is about to take birth soon. These devotees had no idea who Narottam was. In fact, he wasn't even born yet. So just imagine somehow our great spiritual masters, our teachers, the Supreme Personality of God himself just thinking about this great devotee who is yet to take birth, he goes into complete ecstasy. This is how much Mahaprabhu had love and affection for Narottama Dasa Thakur. And what we'll see time and time again throughout the lives of great acharyas, throughout the life of Narottama Dasa Thakur, is the lengths to which great devotees are willing to go in order to gain love of God, devotion, to walk a spiritual path. So everyone thinks, who is this Narottama and what will he do? On the banks of the Padmavati River in the town of Gopalpur lived King Krishnananda Dutt. His older brother was Purushottam Dutt, and the wealth and fame of these two brothers was beyond compare. In the month of Magh, on the full moon day, around 1531, Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur took his birth. So he was the son of a king, a prince. And all of that wealth, he would rather have used it in the service of Gaura-Nitai, using it in order to further his spiritual path, using it in order to further his Krishna consciousness. I was thinking and reflecting on wealth yesterday. I was talking to my brother and thinking about what it means, thinking about all of these celebrities that we see. Narottama Dasa Thakur, being a prince, would have been a celebrity in his own right. You know, someone that we would have wanted to take pictures of and make sure it was on our social media, make sure all the who's who would be there. To know him, to see him, to be part of his entourage. But for him, the best use of his time and the best use of his wealth was to be able to use it in the service. So this idea, this life path of devotional service is invaluable. We see that there are so many people. There's Maharaj Prataparudra, who was the king of Orissa at the time, prior to this. And he had a great yearning and a desire and a longing just to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was willing to renounce his kingdom. He would have been willing to give up his wealth, give up his family, do anything in order to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, he began the great tradition, and he continues even today, that the king of Odisha, during the Rath Yatra festival, will come and take the role of a humble street sweeper. And he will come before the cart of Lord Jagannath, who's considered the real king of Puri. And he will sweep the road before Lord Jagannath during this huge cart procession, saying, metaphorically, that the king has taken the role of, I'll just sweep the street in front of Lord Jagannath. Oh, my Lord Jagannath, everything that I have is yours. If I can use it in your service, then I don't mind. I will be considered just a street sweeper. Just let me be engaged in your service. So sometimes we can think about this great opportunity that we have that we have to engage ourselves in devotional service. There are people willing to sacrifice all the wealth in the world just to engage in this devotional service. And we have it, seemingly, for free. Now, we can also understand that the price is not exactly free. Actually, the real price, as it is said in the great songs of the Vaishnavacharyas, Lord Nityananda has opened up the marketplace of love of God. The real price is faith. The real price is devotion. The real price is for us to place our trust, that most vulnerable of commodities, that rare commodity of our trust, for us to place our trust within the divine, within the supreme personality of Godhead, for us to place our trust within Gornitai and give that trust to them unflinchingly. That's the price of this, for this devotional service. There's no amount of money in the world that could buy the treasure of the holy name, which has descended as the treasure of the entire spiritual world. We think of Krishna and all of his wealth. We hear that Krishna has all opulences. So he has all wealth, all power, renunciation, beauty, strength, knowledge. All of that wealth and opulence has culminated. It has combined together to form the supreme wealth of this holy name. And then, as Narottama Dasa Thakur has so aptly written, Golokera Premadan Harinam Sankirtan, this holy name has descended as the very wealth of the treasure of Golokadam and has descended amongst all of us. The only price is our faith. The only thing that's needed is that we take up the process wholeheartedly. Open our hearts to the possibility that this Mahamantra, this devotional service, will absolutely change our lives. And this is what Narottama Dasa Thakur dedicates his entire life to. This chanting of the holy name, singing the songs dedicated to our Gornitai and other devotees, and Radha Krishna and their pastimes, dedicating his time to serving other devotees and his friends. And one very beautiful thing, I think, about his life is the fact that he was so eager to serve, so willing to serve others, that everyone loved him. He organizes, along with Janava Mata, the wife of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, whose wonderful appearance day we celebrated yesterday, along with Janava Mata, who becomes the foremost and preeminent Vaishnav Acharya of the time after the Panchatattva. She is often referred to by Narottama Dasa Thakur. He says, "It is only by the mercy of Janava Mata that I can maintain my life. It is only by the Shakti of Janava Mata that I am able to continue my service." He gives so much credit to her. So along with her and a wealth of other devotees, they organized the first Gaur Purnima festival at Ketari Gram, which I know we've spoken about before, when we spoke about Janava Mata. And all of the devotees were assembled, invited, cordially and royally. They were invited with so much respect. And I remember reflecting on how we could make such a change in the lives of others if we were able to honor all of our friends in this way. When they showed up at these festivals, it didn't matter who you were, high birth, low birth, well-known or not so well-known. Narottama Dasa Thakur arranged for a royal welcome, like red carpet, but for everyone. I think about how fame and prestige and honor can seem so exclusive. And part of the allure is that it is exclusive. It is seen as an exclusive club, not just given to anyone, right? This fame and this honor and this prestige, we reserve, we hold on to it People hoard it, make sure they only give it to a select few. They want to make sure if they have a program or a podcast or a TV show, right, they're only inviting the best of the best, handpicked. So at this wonderful Gaur Purnima festival, the first festival celebrating the birth of Lord Chaitanya after the disappearance of the Panchatattva, they wound up all of their pastimes. This honor and prestige, which is usually so exclusive, was now given to every devotee. But not in a false way, not in a way of them thinking, oh, well, they just do this for everyone, but everyone was made to feel like you are the most honored guest. And I think about how difficult this is, right? Just honoring one person. If we think about the ways in which we honor our spiritual masters and we honor our great teachers, and then if we were to extend that same kind of love and devotion to every devotee that we met, so that they all felt special, right? Not so that they felt like, oh, this is just cheapened, but in a way where every devotee was so specially received. That means that we have to know details about every devotee. That means that we have to have some personal investment in every devotee. And then when we are able to give that love and care and compassion personally to each devotee, then they feel as though they've been welcomed like the most honored guest. So this was the festival at Khetri. Narottama Dasa Thakur, Janavamata, all of the assembled devotees, they knew about the devotees that they had personally invited. And they knew about these devotees personally. So they interacted with them personally, and those personal touches make all the difference. And what was the great miracle and the great blessing that happened at this festival at Khetri? Because of the personalized service that was given to every single devotee, because of the cooperation that was taken, the cooperation between all of these devotees working together just to make Mahaprabhu happy, just to make a festival where all of the devotees would be happy, where they would all be able to once again, somehow or other, feel the presence of the Panchatattva one more time, because they undertook all of these different endeavors with an attitude of love and service. The great miracle was, as the kirtan commenced, as the devotees sang with all of their hearts, the Panchatattva appeared. Now they had already left their earthly pastimes. They had already wound them up. So the Panchatattva were, in essence, gone. But as this kirtan reached a crescendo, all of the devotees chanting in unison, chanting the Maha Mantra, such that at a certain point, it seemed as though there was no leader. Right? Everyone was taking turns. Everyone was participating in the chanting of the holy names, uproariously. The great miracle was that the Panchatattva was somehow called back into the midst of that great assembly. And the Panchatattva began to dance. And so many of the devotees there witnessed the Panchatattva once again, saw the lords of their hearts once again. They were able to feel the same way that they felt. Some of them were now witnessing this for the first time. Some of these devotees had taken birth after the Panchatattva had already wound up their pastimes. Now they were seeing Gaurnitai. Now they were feeling the ecstasy. This is the miracle of when devotees cooperate with one another. When we are able to organize ourselves in a way that we just want to serve one another and serve Gaurachandra Shri Shri Radha Murlidhar, Shri Shri Radha Govinda, the Panchatattva, the lords of our hearts, when we just have that common goal and desire, and everyone is thinking of just the best way to do it. And my Guru Maharaj and His Holiness Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, whose birthday by Western calculations was yesterday also, they would often say, have arguments as though your spiritual master were present. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj had guidelines for community building within devotee communities. And he would say, if we treated everyone as though our spiritual lives depended on it, how different would things be? If we treated everyone as though the very future of our spiritual advancement depended on it, just imagine what this would be like, right? Just imagine how incredible that would be. It might just bring about the miracle of the Panchatattva descending in our lives, not just at one festival, but in our lives every day. We have been shown through practical application that this is possible. So again, what's that price? That price is our faith, our trust, our devotion, putting our faith in the actual knowledge, right? Taking it as fact, as much a fact that gravity exists, as much of a fact that there's blood running through our veins, that if we are able to cooperate with one another and serve in a spirit of devotion, in a spirit of trying to bring joy to the hearts of our dearmost lords, then we can take it as an absolute fact that we will see the miracle of the Panchatattva's presence within our lives every single day. Krishna will run to that place where we yearn and seek to serve other devotees. So this faith is incredibly important. Faith is something that Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur had in abundance. He was ready to give up everything and anything in order to serve. And it just goes to show how when we use wealth for ourselves, we may have the idea of being happy. We may have the concept and the dream of maybe possibly being happy. But when we are able to use our wealth, whatever we feel is valuable in our lives, if we are able to use that in the calling to be of service, then our lives become divinely inspired. We realize a divine purpose. We hear throughout the pages of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a story of a Brahmin, and he wants to perform an elaborate wedding ceremony for his child, but he has no money. And so he prays and he prays and he prays to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva tells him, he says, I know where you can get the greatest wealth. There is a Babaji, a mendicant, and he meditates not too far from here. If you journey to see him, he will be able to give you the greatest wealth in the world. His name is Sanatan. Go see him. So he sends this Brahmin to go see Sanatan Goswami. And this Brahmin gets there, he says, "Oh, Sanatan, I've heard from Lord Shiva himself that you possess the greatest wealth. Can you give me some gold, some wealth, some jewels? I need to perform the wedding ceremony of my child." Sanatan says, I do. I have a touchstone. This touchstone, this Chintamani stone, if you touch it to anything, it will turn it into gold. And Sanatan does not sound like this is anything extraordinary. The Brahmin says, you have such a thing? You'd be willing to give it to me? Sanatan says, sure. He says, well, where is it? Sanatan says, oh, I keep it over there in that corner. That corner happened to be the garbage corner of his bhajan kutir, his little place where he would perform his bhajan. And there was all kinds of refuse and garbage and all kinds of things in that corner. And he says, if you go, just search through, you'll find it. The Brahmin searched through, and all of a sudden, of course, he pulls out this gem. And he says, you're saying I can have this for free. I don't need to give you anything. Sanatan says, no, take it. The Brahmin goes and he takes it. And as he starts to walk home, he thinks, this Babaji is very interesting. He had this touchstone, and it can turn anything into gold, solid gold. Just imagine how much money I could make off of this. I would be able to perform millions of weddings. This Babaji kept it in the garbage, literally in the garbage. There must be something else that this Babaji has that he's not telling me. Otherwise, why would he so carelessly, right? Without a care, without a second thought, he gave it to me. This Babaji must have something else, and I must find out what that other wealth is. So the Brahmin goes back. He says, Sanatan, I can understand. You must have something more wealthy than even this touchstone. Please, you must give me whatever you have that is more valuable than this. Sanatan thinks for a moment. And he says, are you sure you want wealth even greater than this touchstone? The Brahmin says, yes, please, of course, I must have it. He says, okay, first, take that touchstone, throw it in the river. Surrender it to the river. And the Brahmin looks, he says, are you sure? He says, that's the only way I can give you what I have. The Brahmin says, very well. Takes the stone, the touchstone, and throws it in the river. He comes back and says, it's gone. Never to be seen again. And Sanatan says, now I can give you the greatest treasure within my heart. This treasure is more valuable than any touchstone, more valuable than any amount of gold. This treasure weighs more than anything, right? You can't put it on a scale and weigh it according to any kind of wealth. This treasure is this Mahamantra, this very mantra which has taken over my life and has given me everything. Every ounce of happiness that I have is due to the treasure of this Mahamantra. And then you chant the Mahamantra into the ear of this Brahman. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Suddenly, the Brahmin could understand the wealth of the Mahamantra. But was it magic? Did it just happen like that? The price was faith. This Brahmin had to give up the attachment to the touchstone first. As long as that Brahmin was thinking, I just want this material wealth, I just want this that I have right here, he could not reap all of the blessings hidden within the holy name. But he was willing to put his faith in Sanatan Goswami. He was willing to put his faith in that kind of devotion and say, okay, I trust you. I will give up that thing that I think is valuable in order to receive the blessings that this spiritual teacher wants to give me. So this is our price. Do we have faith like Narottama Dasa Thakur? Right? Narottama Dasa Thakur even just hears about the Panchatattva from other people. And all of a sudden, he begins to write pages and pages of poetry about Gaur Nitai, asking when will they show me their mercy? This is how Narottama Dasa Thakur reaches the eternal abode of Vrindavan, praying for the mercy of Shri Gaur Nitai. But he did it on faith. So this is our price. I've often had the realization that we hold on to the things that we think are valuable. We hold on to them with both hands clutched tight. And we'll hold on to those things that we think are valuable so tightly that we have nothing left with which to open up our arms and receive the blessings of Gaur Nitai. Whenever I think about Gaur Nitai, we see them, arms raised. When we think about the emblem of surrender, when we think about if there was an asana, right, in yoga for surrender, it would be this, both hands up. When we think about Draupadi going through the great ordeal within the Mahabharata, and she is in danger of being disrobed and dishonored, abused in front of the court of her entire elders. And she thinks maybe one of my husbands can save me. I have 5 powerful ones. One of them must be able to save me. And at that moment where she realizes that none of them can save me, none of them can make a difference, and she knows that she has to call out to Krishna. She cannot fight this powerful warrior who's trying to abuse her, right? He's been training in warfare every day. And although she was a warrior queen, she was still engaged in her duties as a queen. And so she was not doing the battle training every day. So she can't fight him off. All she can do is surrender and call out to Krishna with love. Both hands up. So if there was an asana within yoga for surrender, this would be it. So I often think we hold tightly to the things that we think we have. Our ideas, our wealth, this, that, whatever, family prestige, reputation, honor, all of those things, we hold on to it so tightly that we may not have the ability to perform that asana of surrender. So I often challenge myself, don't hold so tightly to what I think, what I feel, what I believe, that I don't have any arm length left to receive Krishna's blessings in my life. I can't hold on to what I think I have so tightly that I cannot receive Krishna's miracles. This is what happens when we give faith. When we put our faith, we place our faith at the lotus feet of Gaur Nitai, and we pray for their mercy, we can expect their miracles because we have both arms open, ready to receive them. We have both arms open. Now we're not just holding tight to what we think and still like, okay, Lord, okay, I'll trust you a little bit. We are giving full faith, opening both arms, okay. So when I see Gaur Nitai, I feel like this is what they're teaching. When we see deities of Doyal Nitai, Vijay Gauranga, Mahaprabhu is often with one hand up, the other hand out, just he's receiving everything from the spiritual world, but giving it freely, take. And Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and sometimes even Mahaprabhu, we see both hands out, giving freely, give it, take it. And so I often feel as though when we go see our Lord, when we go see Sri Gaurachandra, when we see Nityananda Prabhu, in the mood of Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur, in the mood of all of our acharyas who teach us about having such wonderful faith. We should see them. We should be seen by the deity. But we should approach the deity with that beautiful asana of surrender. We should show them, I trust you. Throw our hands up, ready to receive, right? Palms up, just ready. Oh, my Lord, I know you are showering my life with your blessings. I'm ready to receive all of those miracles because I put my faith and trust in you. So this is what we are able to learn from Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur. And we would not be able to have a proper festival in his honor without singing at least one or two of his bhajans. One of my favorites, one of the most famous. I think we would not be able to have the noon arti in Sridham Mayapur without it. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koromode. Sing it every day at noon to the most beautiful Panchatattva deities that have been installed. Over 7 feet tall. These Panchatattva deities are giving their loving glance and their mercy to one and all. And we see Mahaprabhu right in the center, arms completely raised. Take all of the mercy, take all of the love that Krishna has possibly to give. Shri Krishna has come in the form of Mahaprabhu to take the love from all the hearts of his dearest devotees and then give it freely to all of us. What amazing times we find ourselves in. So Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur writes in this wonderful song, my dear Lord Chaitanya, please be merciful to me. Because who can be more merciful than your lordship within these 3 worlds? Your incarnation is just to reclaim the conditioned fallen souls. But I assure you that you will not find a greater fallen soul than me. Therefore, my claim is first. And we wondered, we spoke about the humility of great souls in a session that I was having once. And I talked about us having genuine, honest humility, right? There was a conversation once. A young devotee said to Srila Prabhupada, oh, Srila Prabhupada, I am the most fallen. And Srila Prabhupada quickly replied, you are not the most anything. So sometimes we have to remember when we are thinking, oh, I have no good qualities, all of these, I am the most fallen. Do we really feel that? Or is it lip service, right? Do we really honestly feel that we have no good qualities? Do we really? Because if that was the case, then we would know that the Lord's mercy is all we have. It is our only hope in life. We would be running to that place. Or do we acknowledge that really, truly, I know I have some good qualities. My problem is that my mind tricks me into not using them for the greatest good. My mind tricks me into placing my faith in different places, in different people, right? That price of faith, I pay it, but not to the Supreme Lord. So, do we give ourselves that pass of false humility and we say, oh, I'm the most fallen, but we continue not to serve? Or do we genuinely acknowledge where we are? I am a very small human being. I'm one small living entity. I may have a very, very limited capacity. I may not do this, or this well, right? But I do have faith. I will pay that price. I'm willing to pay that price because the miracles that come because of it are even greater. So someone was asking, if we are not supposed to have this false humility, then why do we see so many of our spiritual leaders say that they are the most fallen? And the realization that I had was that they are honestly seeing that I am so fallen because I'm so unhappy. I'm in this world and I'm thinking I'm a part of this world, but they don't stop there, right? It doesn't become a pity party. They don't stop at self-pity. They say, I am the most fallen. I am devoid of good qualities, but the Supreme Lord has given me his mercy. Or, oh my Lord, you should give me your mercy because you give your mercy to those who have no qualifications. I don't have qualifications. Therefore, Narottama Dasa Thakur says, my claim is first. And so the great souls say, not only is my claim first, but then you should give me your mercy. And the Lord has given me his mercy. So therefore, all of you people who are listening, take to this process too. Just give yourselves to this process. Because look at the miracle that has happened in my life. So this is not false humility. This is like advertising. Oh my Lord, I assure you, you will not find a greater fallen soul than me. Therefore, my claim is first. My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss since you always appear very happy. I have come to you because I am most unhappy. If you kindly put your glance over me, then I may also become happy. My dear Advaita Prabhu, husband of Sita, you are so kind. Please be merciful to me. If you are kind to me naturally, then Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda will also be kind to me. Lord Gaurachandra's love, he is love embodiment, and his love's embodiment is shown by Gadadhar Pandit, Srinivas Pandit, and Haridas Thakur, the ocean of mercy. Oh, Swarup Damodar, personal secretary of Lord Chaitanya. Oh, 6 Goswamis. Oh, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. Oh, Lokanath Goswami, my beloved Guru, spiritual master. Narottama Das also prays for your mercy. Oh, Srinivasacharya, successor to the 6 Goswamis, please be merciful to me. Narottama Das always desires the company of Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj. And we spoke about this Ramchandra Kaviraj, who was the best friend of Narottama Dasa Thakur. So, with that said, and with the gorgeous darshan of Shri Shri Radha Muralidhar ki jai, Shri Gaurachandra ki jai, we'll sing this one bhajan of Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kara More Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kara More Toma Bina Ke Dayalu Jagata Samsare Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatara Patita Pavana Hetu Tava Avatara Mosamapa Tita Prabhu Napai Beara Mosamapa Tita Prabhu Napai Beara Ah Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Shuki Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Shuki Kripa Balakana Koro Ami Baraduki Kripa Balakana Koro Ami Baraduki Daya Karo Sitapati Advaita Gosai Daya Karo Sitapati Advaita Gosai Tava Kripa Bole Pai Chaitanya Nitai Tava Kripa Bole Pai Chaitanya Nitai Aha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Aha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Vatta Juga Sri Jivaha Prabhu Lokanatha Vatta Juga Sri Jivaha Prabhu Lokanatha Daya Kara Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sannamage Narottama Das Daya Kara Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sannamage Narottama Das Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More Toma Bina Ke Dayalu Jagata Samsare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shishi Gauranitai ki jai, Shishi Radha Murlidhara ki jai, Shishi Radha Govinda Dev ki jai, Shri Vaishnav Thakur ki jai, Shri Thakur Mahashai ki jai, Anantapati Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. So thank you so much for being with me, for bearing with me, for sending all your blessings and all of your well wishes and your prayers. Thank you. And thank you for allowing us to have this wonderful darshan of Shri Radha Muralidhar and Shri Gaura Chandra, the moon of our very lives.